Good morning, Good Samaritans. Thank you to Mr. Andy for saying what I wanted to say, but what I wasn't asked to talk on. So I feel... Thank you to the leadership of Samaritan Ministries of Greater Washington for asking me to talk about my experience as a volunteer for this wonderful organization. They asked me to speak about why did I originally get involved and why did I come back. Well, that's a long story which I've thought hard how to compress it into a couple of minutes. So let's go back to 1991 for a minute. At the beginning of 1991, I was a specialist in hardware, software, womenwear. I was defending the Air Force Systems Command, the whole Air Force, MILNet, which was a forerunner of the internet, against Iraqi cyber attacks because we were in the midst of freeing Kuwait from an occupation by Iraq. Do you remember that? Yeah. So I was flying high. I was defending my country for a good cause. I was also defending myself against the Air Force misogynist culture, which culminated in a hands-on sexual attack in the workplace. And I walked away from a really good job because I just couldn't tolerate it anymore, and I knew I couldn't win the battle. I thought, no problem, I'll get another job right quickly. But it was a recession, especially in the tech industry, and I soon realized I was in trouble. So I threw myself into my hobby, which was music and video production. And somehow the word got around that I was doing these nice little documentaries for nonprofit organizations, and I received a call from Carter Eccles. And yes, Carter Eccles. She asked me to do a documentary about the Next Step program. Little did she know how much I needed the Next Step program. The Next Step program, I wasn't an official participant, but I internalized what I was learning from the participants in the Next Step program. And looking back, I realized it had a profound effect on how I got through unemployment. Just to show you how ignorant I was, I thought unemployment insurance was welfare, and I resisted going for it until I was desperate. And then I began to realize, oh, there's help. And I got through it. After 6 months, I got a job, and here's what is really special to me about my involvement with Samaritan in 1991. In December of 91, Carter invited me to a prayer service at the National Cathedral. It was led by the bishop and a rabbi who I knew because I was a singer in the Temple Micah Choir, and an imam, and he had his sheikh with him who chanted a surah or a series of ayat that so moved the congregation that there was a physical feeling of the Holy Spirit among us. And when I look back on that, I realize that was a very important turning point in me becoming a Christian who prays with Muslims, not for Muslims, with Muslims. Now, that's a long story, and I won't go into it. You can read the book. But one important aspect of it is I spent many years in the Middle East, and I married a man who is a descendant of an Arab king, Mukrin, king of Ahsa, who is a Kuwaiti Arab Muslim police officer and English teacher who is also stateless. And from him, I have learned, and from other Muslims, I have learned patience, endurance, tolerance, and what Andy talked about. Being faithful in the midst of trouble. So now you can see, we all need the Next Step program, right? Doesn't matter where we are in the journey. And when we meet the participants in the Samaritan Ministry, we can say to them, I've been there. And I know you can rebuild your life. We can give them hope. Now, how did I get back to Samaritan? That's another long story, which I won't go too much into, but I will say, to encourage you in your support for Samaritan, that Samaritan's very own rock star, Phil Collins, invited me. He kept coming to my church in Congress Heights, saying Samaritan Ministry this and Samaritan Ministry that. And there was like, well, that rings a bell. What is that? Oh, suddenly it came back to me. I was, in 1991, I was involved. Oh, that was really, there was the Next Step program. That was really important in my life. And so, as we think about the meaning of the Good Samaritan, I would like to just finish with this verse from the Quran, which has the same message. This is from Surah 4, Ayah 146. Believers, uphold justice and bear witness to God, even if that witness is against yourself, your parents, or your close relatives. Whether a person is rich or poor, God can best take care of both. Refrain from following your own desires so that you do not act unjustly. If you distort the truth, God is fully aware of what you do. Jennifer.